So today I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to share something that is a straight up pet peeve of mine in the real estate industry. That those that are real estate agents, real estate professionals, I see this all the time on social media and it drives me up the wall. So hopefully that got your curiosity going and you should be able to see my screen. Today I'm going to answer the question that I see so many real estate experts posting their opinion online. The question is now a good time to buy or sell real estate? The post that I see most frequently us professionals make, not me, but many others, is this. It's a statement like this. I bet you've seen it. It's a statement that a real estate agent makes, and they say this: now is the best time to sell, or now is the best time to buy. And I just think to myself, that is bogus, ridiculous. Why is that? Well, here's why. Two of the appointments that I've had over the past week or two, after sitting down and consulting, and I'm going to unpack that word consulting here in a few minutes, after talking to these families and where they're at, what they're considering, and consulting them, everybody came to the conclusion that now is not the best time for them to move. One of them was a couple that were considering acreage, and the other one was a couple that bought new construction. I sold them their house 4 or 5 years ago, and actually 6 years ago. And now they're looking at new construction that they like the location a little bit better and they like the neighborhood a little bit better. And both of them came to the same conclusion after looking at the data, after having a conversation with me, that now it just would not make sense for them. So the myth that I want to bust today is that these broad statements about now is the time to buy, now is the time to sell, broad statements when it comes to real estate are just ignorant at best. So I want to break down really like what is it that I do that I really enjoy, and really the piece that I love in the real estate business, because also I'm a business coach. I coach many other business owners that are into growing their business and serving people well. And the same principle or the same thing that I'm good at shows up in both things that I do. One of the things that I enjoy the most about real estate that I just think keeps me on the hook now, 20 years later, just about, this is year number 18 or 19, is this: it's the consulting piece. Selling is not telling, it's asking great questions. And so I wrote out, and I have it in a slide deck to keep me on point. It's the consulting piece. Selling is not telling, it's asking great questions. And for me as a salesperson, one of the things that I enjoy the most is the consulting piece. Consulting is not telling you what to do. And many of you that are watching this video have worked with me professionally before. And sure, I may give you my professional input, but at the end of the day, I'm going to lead with asking exploratory questions to figure out what's going on in your life and see what your needs really are. So, really, the consulting piece, I wrote it down like this: it's guiding you to your own answers. It's trusting that you know what's best for you and your family. And so the consulting piece is more of advising, exploring where you're at, what you're considering. And really, I look at myself as the facilitator of the conversation. So when I see agents posting online that now's the time to buy, now's the time to sell, these broad statements that may work out well for them because they're in the business of helping people buy and sell, it's not true. It's not true that now is the best time to buy. It's not 100% true that now is the best time to sell either. Why is that? Because it depends on your circumstances and what's going on and what your needs are. So really the power comes from asking, not telling. One of the challenges in the real estate space is that, especially for those that have been doing it a while, who are really good at what they do, top of their game, there could be a sense of like, yes, I know the market and I know what's best. And yet that's not how I roll. I could give you input, but the point is I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to facilitate a conversation to explore what your needs are so you can come to the own conclusion. Because I trust when I present the facts, help you find options, we're all reasonable people. You're going to come to your own conclusion of whether or not now's the time for you to make a move. So some of the questions that help bring clarity is, what are my family needs right now? what would it cost me to stay versus what would it cost me expense wise to make a move? And what does the right move actually look like? It's important to consider that and walk through that. And once again, I'm going through these questions quickly. And some of these that if you're in the spot where you're looking to make a move or you're considering making a move, of course, reach out to me. I'd be glad to come over. And one of the things that I've heard over the years is, Chris, we don't want to waste your time. So people feel like a pressure to, number one, thank you for respecting not only your time, but my time. That means a lot to me. However, I consider it a privilege to help you navigate these types of conversations. And you don't have to wait to come to me to have a conversation when you have it all figured out. I find joy in being part of that process for you. So to recap, it's like, okay, what are your actual needs right now for you and your family? What would it cost you to stay versus the cost to move? And what does the right move actually look like for you? Like, what would actually make sense for you and your family or the decision makers? And sometimes there's stuff going on where somebody can they could be tempted to make a permanent decision based on a temporary or emotional something that would happen. And so I think that's where one of the ways I could bring value in is I'm going to help you make yes, of course, and consider your emotions and what you need and what you're looking for when it comes to real estate. But also, we don't want to leave out that logic side. So sometimes when people come to me, they're heavy on the emotional side or they're heavy on the logic side. And what I do is I kind of find the missing piece of the puzzle and I help bring logic and reason together. So a big part of figuring out if now is the time, because it is unique to you and your circumstances, is thinking through your family dynamic, considering location, thinking through long-term needs versus short-term needs. Like, what are the things that are right now in front of us? Some of the areas that I find where it is time for somebody to actually make a move, it's their lifestyles change. I'll give you an example. A couple I just sold their house in Lee Summit. They had almost a 3,000 square foot story and a half home. And it was just two people living there. A couple where they're in the season of not only to have their kids moved out, now they're having grandkids that are going off to college and they're looking at each other thinking, what are we doing with all this space? Not only the space, but looking at the yard, thinking, is it worth it to keep up all of this maintenance on all this interior of the house, all the exterior of the house? Is it worth it? And they discovered that now's not they're tired of it. That season's changed and now it's time for them to change with the season they're in. So you know what this couple ended up buying? They ended up moving over to Raymore actually into a subdivision where it's maintenance provided. Matter of fact, that they can make a call if anything goes wrong and they don't have to do any repairs. They pick up the phone and call. And there's scheduled maintenance, meaning the snow removal, the weed and feed on their yard, the grass growing, the grass eating, cutting, all of that is taken care of for them in advance. They don't have to put in any energy towards that. So now they can spend more time together, sitting on their back porch, drinking a cup of coffee, and talking, traveling with the family. They get back to using their time to enjoy the things that they enjoy doing the most. So thinking through, it is now the time. What are your current circumstances? Are you experiencing life change? Are the kids moving out? Are you now empty nesters? Thinking through the season you're in is one of the key components to discovering if now's the time for you to make a move. Okay, so when it comes to the market, a lot of times when people have questions about the actual market that I can answer, that's not so question based. It's going to be looking at, Chris, what is going on in the market right now? I'll tell you right now, out of my 2 decades focusing on the local Kansas City market, the market is in an interesting place. And here's what I mean by that. Usually I could state broad statements. For example, I could say in Lee Summit, the average sales price is up 12% year over year. And the average day on market right now is 46 days for a house to sell. Okay, well, it's not that I can't speak in that broad of terms. And here's why. So, for example, a house that I just sold in Lee Summit, that one we did about 2 weeks in have a lower than list price offer come in. The sellers declined it. And ultimately, it ended up taking us about almost 90 days to actually get that one sold. Well, Chris, why does that matter? Well, compare that to another one that I had in Belton, a different price point, different subdivision, where we got it on the market. They had multiple offers and went under contract in 7 days. What's my point in sharing that story? It's that the market, I've never seen it be more hyper local, meaning you could take two different subdivisions in two different cities and have a completely different story being told about the real estate market. Where, yes, sometimes we see multiple offers, and then other times we see a house sitting on the market month after month, or we see a house that it sells for full price, and then another one we have to do a price reduction or two in order to get it sold. My point in sharing that is that the market has never been more hyper local, in my opinion, than ever before. So whenever you see an agent saying these broad statements about how great the market is or how challenging it is, it's just it really depends on the subdivision, the location, the city. And so it just depends. Like I said, the market's in an interesting place right now. So what I like to do is facilitate the conversation, come from a lot of curiosity, ask you questions to see what your family dynamics are, and really help you self-discover if now is the time. It's not my place or any other real estate professional's place, in my opinion, for them to tell you if now's the time. However, I think by the end of the conversation, it'll be clear if now is the time for you and your family to make that move. And if it is the time, then it's important to come up with answering the question, well, what does that process look like? And that's where we would build a strategic plan to help you get to the finish line of whatever's next for you and your family with your real estate needs. This is one of those areas that I'm really strong in and that I really enjoy doing. I enjoy helping people self-discover if now's the time. And then if it's not the time, wonderful. That's okay. Now you know that. Number two, if it is the time, we could put together a strategic plan to help you figure out what it looks like to move on to next. I'll tell you another story that comes to mind. There was a couple that came out. The situation was they had two children. The oldest is already grown and moved off and finished college, actually. The son was still living at home, graduated college. He had future plans. And so it was actually the week of Christmas. He moved out. And now the couple found themselves as empty nesters, and they dreamt of having acreage property. And after looking at their situation, they discovered that now is the time to make a move. And so I prepared them because knowing the area, I shared with them that the house is definitely going to sell with under 30 days at the price point we were at. And so we found the house that was next for them. We helped them structure a strong contingent offer. If you're wondering what a contingent offer is, go back on my YouTube channel and watch the one titled Contingent Offer, and you'll see exactly what I mean by that. But through having a contingent offer, we were able to help them lock in a property to purchase that was on 10 acres. And they love it. So we helped them come up with a strategic plan to help them get what they want once they knew what they wanted. And so I want to end with this. The best decision is the one that you own, meaning you use your mind to come up with a reasonable answer that works for you and your family. So anytime, be aware of when any agent tells you now's the time to buy or now's the time to sell. Red flag, yellow flag, slow down, caution, caution, because the best decision is the one that you own, and you own it because it was your decision. Don't ever give away your power and let somebody make a decision for you. So maybe you're at a spot now where you're like, hey, we're into the new year. I'm thinking about my plans for my family and I when it comes to our real estate. And if you're considering making a move in the next 12 months, in my opinion, it's never too early to start that strategic conversation. And I promise you, it's not, I don't ever feel like it's a waste of my time if you come to the conclusion now is not the time to make a move. So you can reach out to me, and depending on how you're seeing this video, there's instructions on how you could reach out to me. I appreciate you. If you have any specific questions regarding the local real estate market, reach out to me. I'm here for you. I'm never too busy to take care of you, your family, or friends. I will talk to you soon. We'll see you next time.